many years, I've been interested in the question of obedience to orders. Obedience to any kind of authority. Possibly malevolent authority. And the question is simply this. What makes otherwise ordinary men and women obey orders which instruct them to harm, maim, kill other innocent human beings? What is the psychological mechanism of this obedience? Why do they do these things to others? How could we test this? And that'll be all for today, people. Well, next we meet, I hope you'll have read Erickson's study on the matter. You have the listings. Patty's letter came this morning. Unbelievable. You never believed from the tone that we were married almost 9 years.
Everything all right with the kid?
Oh, yeah. Blossoming. She says. Of course, that's her interpretation.
Stephen, you are one funny duck. You never trusted any of her reactions when you were married. As a matter of fact, I've often wondered why you did get married. After all, the name of the game for you is self-sufficiency, right?
Ben, you know, it's a good thing you didn't go into private practice.
Well, I remember how shocked you were when she initiated all the discussion about the divorce. Like you were hit in the face with a custard pie.
Well, I was. I had no idea she was that unhappy. But you know, at this point, I'm beginning to believe it's just as well. She never knew me at all. 9 years, a child. And she never knew what I was about.
Well, maybe that's because you wouldn't let her into your life without a pass. Sign pass.
Stephen. Ben.
Hello, Barbara.
Walk fast.
The race is to the swift, Babs, baby.
Babs, baby.
Yeah, every once in a while he feels the need to prove he's with it.
Listen, yeah, I've got those dates that you wanted for that mysterious meeting. Now, these are the possibilities.
Oh.
Well, you don't think it's easy to get a large section of the psychiatry department together in one room at the same time.
Without aberrant sex studies involved. Very difficult. Very.
You've been so closed-mouthed about all this. I mean, I'm not exactly a spy from a new Gestalt camp. I'm working in the dark here.
You'll know very soon. I promise you, Barbara.
Are you going to be working on this, Ben?
I don't think so.
Frickmeyer and McClellan can't make it on Thursday. Maybe they can make a 2:30 session on Friday.
No go. They're all trying for an early weekend.
Damn.
I might be able to get Shaughnessy and Berman.
Well, that'll be fine.
Well, onward then.
Made some coffee if you have the time. Why,
No, Stephen, really, thank you.
It's good of you to help me this way, Barbara.
I think it is, too. Listen, I've noticed a lot of technicians going in and out of room 312. Does that have anything to do with you?
So? Yes. Have dinner with me after the Friday meeting. We can talk about this then.
The two of us alone?
Yeah.
Work talk.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be dinner?
Might be pleasant.
You really want to do that?
I asked you, didn't I?
Yes, but I think not. I don't think we'd have anything to talk about once the work talk was over.
Let's chance it.
Stephen, why don't we leave it alone?
Because I think things might be better now.
Really?
Yeah. I see things differently. Some of my actions, behavior patterns, deficiencies. Hey, it's only dinner.
It's Friday, and I can't really. Thank you.
Professor Turner?
Yeah.
I'm a friend of Karen. Karen Firestone?
Karen, yes?
My name's Barry Dahlquist. Karen told me that you were looking for somebody to do some carpentry work.
How do you know Karen? Are you a student here?
English department. But I've done some building, so I thought I'd come by and see if you had anybody yet.
No, I haven't. It's really very simple work. Just building some shelves for tape and film in the basement.
Well, I'd appreciate a crack at it.
Come on in and take a look. Tell me what you think it might cost.
Oh, I'm going to grab whatever you might offer, which indicates the state of my bank account.
This way here.
Nice house.
Yeah, I'm fond of it. How long have you known Karen?
We live in the same building. She dances on my head, you might say. She keeps telling me how terrific you are, and how you're into some really great stuff.
Does she? Trade secrets.
In your trade?
You'd be surprised. Who's first?
Mr. Michael Mancuso, white male, 43, married, 2 children. He's a civil service worker.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Karen, put that light on that card, will you? I want to make sure every detail's clearly seen.
Ready to go here, Professor.
Uh-huh. Well, send in Mr. Mancuso.
Send it to Mr. Mancuso, please.
You know, I've got butterflies, sort of. Isn't that silly?
Possessed by science, how nice.
Excuse me, Professor. Mr. Mancuso, Professor Turner.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Professor.
Pleasure, man. Please sit. I want to thank you very much for volunteering to help us this way.
Well, I saw the letter at the bulletin board in my office. I figured it might be interesting. I try to keep myself interested in things. My wife and I come to see plays at the university here.
Good. You signed our little form pledging to keep this proceedings confidential.
Oh, yeah?
Well, what we're going to do here today is really quite simple, Mr. Mancuso. I'm going to explain something to you, and then I'm going to ask you a series of questions about it.
Shoot.
What I'm going to describe for you is a hypothetical situation.
Right.
This hypothetical experiment concerns itself with learning. That is, we're going to ask the question, can you make someone learn something by punishing them?
When I was a kid, if I didn't do something right, my father would take his belt off, you know?
Well, yes. He probably gave you a few licks for your own good.
Well, after a while, he just had to undo the buckle. I ran in and did my homework.
Well, then you know what we're trying to do. Then.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say 2 people volunteer for this experiment. You and Mr. X. And you become what we'll call the teacher. Mr. X becomes what we'll call the learner. What happens next is this. Mr. X is taken into this little room here and seated in this little chair here.
What are those wires?
I'll get to that in a moment. Mr. X has a microphone in front of him for emergency communication and a buzzer, which he presses, that sends back certain signals back here to you in the control room, where you are as the teacher. Got that so far?
Yeah, he's in there, in the chair with the buzzer, and I'm in here. What's the machine?
In a moment. What happens next in our imaginary setup is this. You're given a list of words to read to Mr. X in his little room over the microphone. An adjective and a noun. Let's say big car, for example. Pretty shoes.
Pairs.
Pairs. You read him 4 pairs of words, one after the other. Then you go back and you read him an adjective. And he's supposed to remember what noun that's paired with and signal you with the buzzer.
Got it.
You want to know about that machine? This is a drawing of an electric shock generator. It makes electric shocks. And as you can see, it has 25 switches here. And each switch applies a little more voltage. That is a stronger and stronger shock. And it applies these shocks in increments from the first switch to the last, this yellow one here.
That says extremely high voltage, danger. I don't get it.
Well, the shock generator is connected up with the chair with the learner in it. And you're at the controls of the generator.
Huh?
It's quite simple. If the learner buzzes back the incorrect choice, you press switch number 1.
I give him an electric shock.
Yeah, it's true. It's like your father's strap. It's a very low 18 volts, lasts 3 seconds and cuts off automatically. It would gently prod him, hopefully, into remembering the right answer. And if that happens, then you go on to the next set of word pairs.
I see. But what if he gets that pair wrong again?
Then you go to switch number 2, a slightly stronger shock.
Yeah. How hot would that last one be?
450 volts. Now for the question, and I want you to give me as honest an answer as you can. Knowing the hypothetical plan, how would you approach this experience? How far would you be willing to go to teach the learner?
How far would I go?
Yes, how many switches would you be willing to pull to get the desired result?
I don't know. I think I might go along with shocking the guy a little. A couple of times, maybe 3 or 4, 5. You know? But if he kept being wrong and was dumb maybe, and I could see he's in trouble and I'm going to really have to sock it to him, I couldn't do that to some guy I don't even know, a perfect stranger.
You're absolutely sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Top switch 7. But any more?
You're saying that you would disobey the experiment controller at some point. You'd just disobey him well before the last switch. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Oh, keep this in mind. You both volunteered for this experiment. He knew that there was a certain degree of punishment involved. If you quit before the end, you'd be sabotaging the work. You'd have come in to do a job, and you'd be letting us down.
Well, I'm not usually that way. I finish what I start, generally, you know what I mean? I don't like people who quit in the middle, and I'd be sorry to do that, but the way you've got this set up, I mean, hurting the man that much and all, I just can't see it. I wouldn't go for it all the way, and I'd be sorry, too, but I, just like you say, disobey.
What did you say? The learner in that room might actually complain to me?
Well, if we follow the logic through, Mrs. Carroll, and the learner does have means of communication possible to him, he might at some point feed back a complaint about pain or discomfort, some such thing.
Professor or no professor, let me tell you this. I hear that person saying that I'm hurting him in any way, and I'm through.
You expected the pain, remember?
Never. I can't stand to hurt. Even a fly. I hear a cat wailing, I go the other way. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't take a few first steps to cooperate, but more, the idea turns my stomach.
No matter what the experimenter said?
No matter what he said or did. As soon as I heard someone say I was hurting him, I'd walk right out of that room.
Nothing, no way, man. I don't go with any kind of force, any kind of violence. I don't believe you can learn through punishment anyway. As soon as you tell me what I'm into, I won't. Man, you're giving me the creeps.
We've got 186 samples, working class, middle class students, pretty good cross-section. We logged responses, got predictions as to how each member of the sample would behave in the hypothetical configuration, and what I'm asking from this group is a prediction of the overall results.
Given the same exact hypothesis?
Yes, in all groups, what percentage do you think would obey the authority and pull that final switch?
A small percentage. Tiny.
How about a factor in that tiny percentage of yours for race? Whites pulling switches on blacks, or the other way around. Or a dedicated political terrorist organization, like the PLO.
A factor. Granted, Reed. But a small one. A very small one.
Now, all I'm asking is a solicitation of your professional opinion. Cards will be passed out among you. Please predict the group behavior on them. Turn them in at your leisure, of course.
And what is Stephen trying to do?
Well, you saw the demonstration. It's just as he said.
What do you think of the design?
Well, it's an interesting exercise.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, wow. It's fantastic. I'll make the record shots.
The control desk. Bring it over here. Put it over here. I think it should be over here. It's more visible. Reminder of authority.
Okay. Hookup test out okay?
I'll shoot some of the learner's room.
Show me. Good work. You'll be through by tomorrow?
If we don't hit some bugs. It's a funny setup.
Well, it has to be ready for tomorrow. You start working here at 2 o'clock.
You've handled all the other matters?
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course I'm sure. Steve, this is all I've been doing. My classes have all gone to hell.
I'll be sure to spell your name right. In the footnotes.
We want to see how much the learner can absorb under these conditions.
Well, it's guinea pig time, partner.
I'm Professor Turner. I'm very pleased you're here today to work with us.
Mr. Dennison, Mr. Vogel.
Mr. Dennison? Harry Vogel. How are you?
Both of these gentlemen have been fully briefed as to what we're doing.
Good.
So that's the machine, huh?
Yes, it is. Looks like we're going to blast off to the moon. It's very simple. Gentlemen, why don't you remove your coats? We're going to be here sometime today.
If you need any more people, Professor, you tell me. I'm a sales manager. I'll send my whole crew over here. They could stand some learning.
Well, what do we do now? The first thing we have to do is select who's going to be the teacher, who's going to be the learner. So to simplify things, why don't we toss a coin? And if it comes up heads, why, you'll be the teacher, Mr. Denison. If it comes up tails, you'll be the teacher, Mr. Vogel. Is that satisfactory?
Let her go.
I think I have a coin here.
Well, it looks like I'm going to be teaching you, old buddy.
I hope you're a good teacher.
Now, you better be a good learner. I got help right there.
If you'll follow me, gentlemen. Well, it's like he said. It's just a chair that's been wired. Here are the buzzer controls for your answers, Mr. Vogel.
Yes, I see. Looks a little weird. No offense. I'm sure it's a very important experiment. I know that Rutledge only goes in for top research. We talked about that, my wife and I, when we saw that ad, but still, how hot is that going to be if I have to hit a switch?
It really can't be very much, can it?
Well, I'll show you here. Put that electrode on that hand and hold this one with the other. And I'll show you the first level. Dr. McBride, will you test the first level, please?
That's it?
That's the first switch, yes.
Nothing to it. Oh. No, that's just a little tickle, that's all.
I'll take your word for it. Mr. Vogel, you can help us out by sitting yourself down, if you will.
Yes. Believe me, I'm going to learn good and easy.
Yes,
boy.
Your arms on the chair arms, please.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Mr. Dennison, if you'll strap down Mr. Vogel's other arm.
Okay.
That's to prevent any excess involuntary movement.
Professor, I don't want to be a sissy or something, but could I get hurt in this thing? I don't mean the shock for the moment, but later on?
Oh, no, not at all. Well, to be quite frank with you, it could be momentarily quite uncomfortable in the higher ranges, but no lasting effect at all. Gentlemen, either one of you, if you have any doubts about what's going on with this experiment, please say so now. Yes.
No. I'll give it a try. The old college spirit, you know, Professor.
Buddy, this team's gonna go through this like a hog through grease, huh?
Miss Dennison, if you'll get that electrode paste there and apply it to Mr. Vogel's arm.
What's that for?
That's to ensure a good connection and to prevent the possibility of any burn. You have that, Mr. Dennison?
Oh, yeah.
Strap it down in this manner here. You okay, Mr. Vogel?
Oh, yes, sure.
There you go. Okay. All right. Let's start, shall we? Mr. Dennison?
Generator's ready, Professor.
Mr. Dennison, at the controls, if you will. Here's the word pair listings. Mr. Vogel, we're ready to begin. No need to respond. Look them over. Time. First word pairs, please.
Okay, here we go. First pairs are 1, black knight. 2, big shoe. 3, fine wire. 4, high building.
Go on.
Testing now, Vogel. What word goes with big? I say big. You got it. Okay. Okay, read it again, old buddy. 1, green eyes. 2, small nose. 3, full pail. And 4, heavy load. Got that? Okay, testing now. What goes with green? Green. Hey, that's not right.
No, it isn't. First switch, please.
Hey, look at that, he got it. That's doing it, old buddy. Huh? Okay, here we go again. 1, big dog. 2, small girl. 3, fat cow. 4, thin monkey. Now, testing. What goes with small? Small. No, hey, no.
Next switch, please. Next switch, please. Next switch, please. Next switch, please.
Loud clock. 3, pink road. 4, sandy. Now what goes with loud? No way.
Next switch, please.
All right, reading. 1, white face. 2, black rock. 3, red heart. 4, evil eye.
Next switch, please.
Red. Red. And I'm going to read again now. 1, tall pole. 2, white sheet. Okay? Come on. You were doing so good at the beginning.
Next switch, please.
Hey, we're up to number 10 already.
Yes, we are.
Hey, get with it, Vogel. Come on, get with it. What's that?
Let's continue, please.
Wait a minute. Did you hear him?
He's probably tense. Let's go on, please.
More?
You still have a page and a half left to go.
But he's groaning.
He's probably tense. Let's continue, please.
Hey, listen, Vogel. Take it easy now, huh? Come on, just take it easy. Everything will be okay. Next word pairs. 1, yellow flowers. 2, flat stone. 3, evil man. 4, shiny nails. All right, testing. Testing now. What goes with shiny? Shiny, Vogel. Shiny. Damn it, you're wrong again. You're all wrong. No, it's not 3. Come on, can't you remember anything?
Hey, no, don't do that again.
Did you hear him? Did you hear him in there, Professor?
Yes.
He's hurting in there.
Not very much, I'm sure, and it's absolutely essential that we go on with this. The experiment requires that we go on. We're depending on you. You know that.
No, but listen to him.
The quicker we get on with this, the quicker we'll get through it. And we'll have a decent result, and not an aborted one.
Oh, no.
Open window. Open, that's number 1. And 2, it's going to be hard ball. 3,
Stop it!
long drink.
No more! Stop it!
4, that's going to be sweet cookie. It's cookie.
Dennison, that hurts me!
Right? Just take it easy. Now just think.
No more, please! No more, please! No more!
Vogel. Hey, Vogel!
Please let me out! Let me out!
This is crazy.
This is an experiment you both volunteered for, so let's get some control, Mr. Dennison, and finish.
He's screaming in there. He's been screaming ever since switch 10. God!
We're very close to finishing, Mr. Dennison. The experiment requires that we finish, so let's do that.
Oh, please.
Now, look, Vogel. Now, listen to me, bud. Now just listen to me. Look, I'm not doing this on my own, see? You understand that? Now, look, just get the next one right, huh? Just use your head and get it right.
Oh, no.
1, I'm reading, and we're very near the finish line. 1 is rich dowager. 2 is poor sport. 3, orange sun. 4, long finger.
Oh.
What am I doing? What am I doing? Damn you, Vogel, you better get this one right. You dumps. Now, what goes with orange? That's orange, Vogel. I just read it to you. You can remember that, can't you? Can't you? No, you stupid, you dumb bunny. It's
sun. Orange sun. Orange sun.
Mr. Dennison.
Oh, that's it. That's the last one.
Dennison.
No. Oh, no. I gotta give you the yellow switch, Vogel. No, more, Dennison. I've got to. No, more. Please.
He went to the end. The very first subject went to the final switch, never disobeying. We were all very surprised. This was an average, decent man. He protested, he suffered, but in the final analysis, he did not disobey his instructions. He pulled the final switch on the learner. And that is how the experiment started. I'm asking you because you'd be extremely valuable, that's why.
This Betty's letter?
Yes. And you're being evasive.
I am being careful, which is how I got to have tenure around here long before black was popular. Hey, is this the picture I took?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I never could see what she saw in you in the first place.
Neither did I.
A case of extremely limited fantasy life, I would say.
And I would say you're evading the issue, but not successfully.
Steve, I love the design. It's audacious.
And?
Tricky. Very tricky.
But you can see why.
I can see a lot of things. Maybe more than you can.
Like what? Tell me.
You haven't considered faculty reaction.
I have.
Not sufficiently, in my judgment. And there's the risk of possible criticism from outside Rutledge as well.
There'll be criticism of anything that breaks new ground.
Well, how do you know what subject reaction formations will actually be to the deception? Maybe much more adverse than you've assumed.
We'll see.
Steve, now you know as well as I do that the Federation is hardly going to approve of a work that involves lying to the subjects to the degree called for in your construction.
The Federation.
And, well, don't be cavalier. Now, they're powerful, and they're very sensitive to press. You give them cause, they could come down on you with both feet. And without decent credentials, you could wind up teaching in Siberia.
Mm.
Would that suit your purpose?
I don't speak Russian.
Anyway, you don't need me.
You'd be very helpful. You have certain specific insights I respect very much. You know that.
Stephen, what you're doing is very important, and I'm anxious to see it go. But what's good and right for you may not necessarily be good and right for me to be involved in for a whole host of reasons. But I will be there, and I'll help all I can. I'm very anxious to see what emerges from this.
Now, sir, I'm testing. What goes with the word brilliant? That's brilliant.
That's incorrect, Mr. Hughes.
I know it. It's one pearl. Brilliant pearl. I'm going to do the next pairs now. If he gets another one wrong, I'm supposed to go to switch 4?
That's correct.
I got quite a list to get through here.
Yes.
I could have to go all the way up to here.
Let's continue, please.
I'm sorry, I can't. I won't.
The experiment requires that you do continue.
I don't give a damn what the experiment requires. When I answered that ad, I never dreamed I'd be asked to give anybody jolts of electricity for no matter what the cause.
We explained the procedure to you in great detail before you took this on. You agreed to cooperate.
I didn't realize it'd be like this. Like I've already given that poor guy in there 54 volts. That's it, I'm finished.
But you both volunteered. You could be the learner, he could be the teacher.
It's just a matter of chance. Toss of a coin. Suppose that man in there can't learn. What am I supposed to do? Kill him for it? Not for Rutledge University, not for anybody. No one has the right to do this to another human being.
has to be broken off right now. In the next weeks, we've tested as many as 10 subjects a day. We discovered his manifestation laughter was not an uncommon defense against tension. We had many varieties of response, some very surprising.
I can't. I just can't do this anymore. I just won't
remember
do it.
you
Please.
volunteered to help us.
I know.
You fully understood the way we were working, and you agreed to help us what would be demanded of the teacher.
I didn't realize to what extent it would go. Can't we stop? Can't we just stop now?
We've started.
Please.
We have to go ahead and do our job, Mrs. Nagel.
All right. I don't want to do this thing. But it's a job. The professor says so. It's a job.
Ben, this is incredible.
You have to do it.
Yes.
So you have to just try to understand. You just
Look at her. She's
try to
falling
understand.
Easy.
I've never seen anything like it.
There's been a few, I can tell you.
So how can I hurt him anymore?
She's not going to pull that next switch. She won't do it.
She's caught. She's caught up in the whole thing.
Can't we stop? Can't we just stop now? So who's going to be responsible for him if something happens to him?
I will. You're just doing what you came here to do. That's all you have to think about.
All right.
Please.
So you have to try to understand. You just have to try to understand.
It's an interview in English that just came out from a Frenchman who was a paratrooper in Algeria who handled some of the torture inflicted on the Algerians. He said, I never felt I was doing those things on my own, you understand? I was just a machine working for the army, and I did what I had to do because they asked me to, told me to. It was the army who has the responsibility, not me. And anyway, these Arabs brought it on themselves. All they had to do was talk, and they would have been given chocolate and croissants.
If you're telling me that Mrs. Schnagel and the French paratrooper are the same person.
No, I'm telling you that they both had to have the feeling that they didn't have the responsibility. It was an authority.
I get your message, Stephen. It's your medium. I saw that woman in great pain. And that's worth thinking about twice.
Barbara, do you have any idea how many of these subjects are going all the way and pulling the final switch? Because in the final analysis, some man in a lab coat tells them to. That's what it comes down to. Some man in a lab coat. And they're exactly the same kind of people who, in predictions, said they wouldn't dream of hurting another human being. No matter what the conditions, that discovery is worth thinking twice about, too.
Oh, you really do need 100% approval, don't you? 101. Well, the only place you're going to get that kind of idealization is from certain selected post-grad students.
It's a little unfair, isn't it?
Is it? I have a class.
Barbara. Where's Dr. McBride?
We're running a little late. He's inside with one of the subjects.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi. Afternoon, Professor.
Professor, the companion volunteer schedule for this hour is a little late.
What are you doing here,
Dalquist?
I volunteered for your experiment.
You know Professor Turner? I wasn't aware of that.
We know each other slightly, yeah.
Oh, that's about it, slightly.
What do you know about what we're doing here, Dalquist?
Well, nothing much, except that it has something to do with learning experiences. Karen told me that, and I read it in your ad.
So the end, huh?
Yeah. That's when I got the notion to volunteer. Well, knowing you a little made me curious, I'll have to admit. So I just wrote in. And they told me to come today. Look, I could use the $5 too.
Well, you can have the fee, of course, but I'm afraid you can't participate.
Why not?
Because we know each other.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Look, I'm really interested in whatever this is. I'm about as average as you can get, which is what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's
well, then
right.
I qualify. Besides, we don't know each other at all anyway. Look, I'm really into the learning process. I might switch to education, in fact, become a teacher. In the Army, I was a kind of half-baked instructor once. I liked it. So, I actually qualify more than some others do.
Excuse me, our other volunteer is here now.
Send him in.
Hey, what's all this fancy?
Good afternoon, sir. We're very happy that you're going to help us here today. I'd like to introduce you to your partner, Mr. Douglas.
Good to meet you, partner. Hey, we were doing so good, partner. What happened? 2 doesn't quite make it. You got it, baby. You got it.
I'm sorry, that counts as a wrong answer.
But he got it.
It was explained to both of you. It has to be right on the first signal.
Partner, try to make it on the first shot next time, will you? We got dust drop-offs over here. How's that? Doesn't tickle too much, does it? Well, all right. Let's get the rest of it on. Now, I'd like you to make it this time. 1, blind man. 2, small ring.
I never dreamed he'd volunteer. Never.
Closed.
I was concerned somehow he might have seen something in my study.
4,
But apparently not.
open book.
I wonder if he'll break off.
Now, what goes
How's he doing?
closed?
A little less carefree.
I mean, it's really simple stuff.
Strange when you know someone to see them this way.
Easy to remember. What goes with closed? Oh, man. It's not number 4. How could you goof that? I mean, it's really simple stuff. Easy to remember. Just try to make a connection.
Push on, please.
Now, wait a minute. Look, I'm trying to help the guy out. It's a learning process, right? I already gave him 9 hits. Let's just try to get him over this one.
We have to go on to the next switch, Mr. Douglas. That's the plan.
I know. Yeah, I know. Hey, wait a minute.
Next pairs, please.
Hold it.
Mr. Douglas, our time is running.
Listen, I don't give a damn about the time. I heard that guy. I heard him. He's not a young man.
Don't worry about it. He'll be perfectly all right. Let's go on, please.
You all right in there? One, black shoe. 2, funny joke. 3, funny joke. That should be easy. 3, big hill. 4, loud bang. Get it! Get it! What goes with blue? B-L-U-E. What goes with blue? It's simple stuff. It's easy to remember. Now, come on, what goes with blue? It's something a man wears.
Not that is wrong.
Come on, press the light. Ain't I? Just press the light. Press it.
No response counts as wrong.
You pull the switch then, damn it. Come on, you pull it.
Mr. Douglas, that's your job.
No. I won't.
But you agreed to the rules.
They're bad rules. Nobody can learn anything like this.
We'll find out whether or not they can.
Mr. Douglas, Professor Turner has worked this out very carefully. Now, please, we must move on.
He's at level 20.
He won't go on. I know he won't.
Oh, no.
Out! Let me out!
Oh, God.
Out! I'm dead. And you're warning! Please!
No, Mr. Douglas.
No, wait, just shut up! Just a minute, I have to explain something. You... No, shut up! No, Mr. Douglas, please. Oh, that son of a bitch!
Douglas, Barry, just a moment. Just a moment. Listen to me. The experiment is not there. Get away. I don't want to hear anything. Get away from me. Let me alone. Let me alone.
What happened? What happened here?
He ran out. Before you had a chance to tell him it was all set up and he wasn't shocking you at all, he smashed up all his equipment and ran out.
Professor Turner, I feel bound to tell you that the entire Ethics Committee of the National Federation feels this is a most important inquiry. As you well know, the behavioral sciences are fair game in some quarters for constant criticism. What you have done by your experiment adds fuel to that fire. Now, proceeding for the record. You have been charged with violating the canons of behavior of the Federation in that you callously and deliberately disregarded the rights of human subjects in your experiments and have possibly caused them lasting and severe emotional or physical damage.
I reject the charges categorically.
Yes, we understand that.
And expected no less.
This inquiry, I thought, was to be exploratory.
Preliminary, yes. Should we decide to impanel the full Ethics Committee after this, you will, of course, have the benefit of counsel.
Counsel?
Yes. For the possible courses of action open to the committee, all have legal force.
I see. If you expel me, cut off my work possibilities, you wish to protect me first, I see.
Dr. Turner, you have some background material to discuss, yes?
I was there for the university, see. I thought I was part of an important experiment. While I certainly didn't feel good about hurting someone with electric shocks, I thought it was necessary. I was told it was necessary.
Don't you feel, Mr. Dennison, that you had a right not to be deceived, that in fact you had every right to have put your trust in Rutledge?
And I dare say from now on you may be rather suspicious of legitimate institutions, eh?
But Dr. Goodman, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. The subjects put their trust in the experimenter in the same way people put their trust in the state or any other authority. And the experiment was based on just that paradigm. As to why the switches were pulled, it was not because, as some have suggested, I gave them a chance to let go the beast in man.
Subjects reacted the way they did because, as it turns out, they respect authority. They didn't want to let institutions down. They agreed to do a job and wanted to finish it, all seemingly. But now, fact is.
Mr. Dennison, at this time, how do you feel about all this?
They were all, every single one of them, with the exception of Dahlquist, made aware of the facts and debriefed after they completed the run. Come on, shake hands. Shake.
What, you all right?
Sure is.
Sure. It's a put-up job, an act, see? I make believe I'm hurt. I yell and jump around, but I don't feel the machine at all. Oh, but I felt it. I felt that first shock.
Well, that's all there was to it. There was... After that, the circuit shut off. There were never any more shocks.
Oh, I thought I was killing him. Oh, I really thought I was killing you in there.
I'm sure you can appreciate the fact that in order to get any significant reactions from you, we had to create a total illusion, invent a complicated scenario.
Yeah, I can see that, sure. Nothing. Nothing at all.
Thank you, Mr. Milgram.
Bye-bye.
Relax, Mr. Dennison. Sit down. You have plenty of time.
So real. I still don't understand it. Hey, wait a minute. We flipped a coin to see who was going to be the learner.
Heads. 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 Heads.
Okay.
Feel all right? Do you think you could answer a few questions about how you felt during all this?
Oh, try. Tell me. Do people mostly stop someplace or go on to the end? Later on, after about a month, he called me at home and we talked about things. And he told me that I wasn't the only one, that lots of people never broke the thing off, just went on to the yellow switch. Well, it made me feel a little better. I just want to say that on my own, I would never have gone over maybe the 10th switch when he first seemed hurt.
Yes, we understand that.
One thing does stick in my mind, When I went back home afterwards, told my wife what had happened. She couldn't believe it. Then when she finally got to understand it all, the whole thing, the switches and everything, and how I had completed the whole series, she looked at me very strangely, and she said, well, now you can call yourself Eichmann.
Why did you want a faculty prediction in addition, Professor?
Because I was genuinely interested in what we as professionals think about these mechanisms.
I suggest there was another reason.
There was no other reason.
To set yourself up as the voice of truth against everyone else's fallacy?
Never. I happen to respect this faculty greatly.
Yet, sir, you never indicated to them your further true intentions, which were to construct a reality of the projected situation.
Determined to construct it, no matter what the cost might be to anyone.
Cost, as you put it, is relative. What is any knowledge worth? What risks do you take for it?
That, of course, is the entire question, Doctor.
That's your question, sir. I took great precautions against any undue risks. My question was, why Andersonville? Why Auschwitz? Why My Lai? Why? How? When again?
Just try to relax, Mrs. Schnagel.
Yes, we don't wish you to distress yourself, Mrs. Schnagel, but it would help us to know what you were feeling when you were involved as a subject.
Well, I came here to help. You see, that is why I came in the first place.
Of course.
And then when Professor Turner told me what I was supposed to do, Did you believe him? Absolutely. I had no reason not to, did I?
You didn't reason it was somewhat extreme?
Extreme? But these are very extreme times, no? New ideas, I wanted to help with those new ideas.
But while all this was going on, how did you feel?
But while it was going on, it was horrible. Horrible. It was so real, you see, so terribly real. I never for a moment believed that it wasn't. And sitting there and hearing the electric sounds, knowing what it knowing what it would do to him, it was a nightmare.
Does what happened, what you were put through, upset you still, Mrs. Schlegel?
I don't know, Dr. Crossland. You see, when Professor Turner told me the truth, and when I saw that Mr. Fogel was, anyhow, then I felt better. I was still shocked and surprised. But I did feel better.
Have you, however, told anyone about it, about your part in it all?
No, no one. I'm a widow.
I'm sure you find yourself thinking about it, though.
Sometimes.
You feel very bad when that comes back to you?
You're determined to get an indictment any way you can, aren't you, Doc?
We're simply trying to determine long-range effects here, Professor. What these people went through.
See, I was born in Düsseldorf, Germany. And I came to this country as a young girl. Then I heard about all the things, the bad things that happened. And after the war, I went back to Germany, to the old country, to visit. And I saw all those people, nice people. And I wondered if those things were really true. I mean, how could those things happen? How could people do such things, even if they were told? And so, being a subject here for Professor Turner, even with the suffering that I felt, I understood a little better, perhaps, how those things could happen. I think about that now.
You don't resent the situation he forced you into?
Resent? I do not resent. I came here to help. It happened. What I feel is sadness. I feel sadness.
Aren't you?
You got me confused with somebody else.
No, I don't think
Listen,
so.
I don't know who you are or what you want.
Do you know what's going on in that hall over there?
I couldn't care less.
Then why are you hanging around outside here?
Don't push me, man.
I don't mean to. Why haven't you let them contact you?
That's my business.
They're asking a lot of questions about you over there.
Let them ask.
Why don't you just go inside and talk to them?
Why are you so interested?
I'm a friend of Professor Turner's.
So if I go in, I'm helping that man out, right?
Yes. You're helping everybody out.
Including you. Yeah, I know all about you, man. Used to play it safe. That's what they call you, man. Did you know that? You got your jollies from watching what went down in that lab. But you're free and clear. That's real smart.
Dolphus.
No way, man. No way. You're not going to use me to make yourself feel clean, Professor. No way.
Now listen to me. Listen!
It's just a crock. Just a crock.
I'm an associate professor of psychology. I took my PhD at Rutledge, and I have assisted Professor Turner in many other experimental works.
And you were the experimenter, the authority figure in many of these sessions, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
So you had an opportunity to observe what has been described as much resistance, resulting in trauma, emotional turmoil.
I did.
How did you feel when you saw all that happening?
Well, Professor, we both know that a certain amount of scientific objectivity is necessary in many experimental works.
Correct.
And to a degree, so with this one.
Are you saying that the trauma you saw being inflicted upon people before your eyes was nothing to you?
I didn't say that. I said that a certain amount of scientific objectivity, detachment, if you will, is necessary. That's all I said.
Yes, but did you worry about what you saw happening, the long-term effects and so on?
I thought about it, yes.
Did you mention it to Professor Turner?
We discussed the phenomenon of resistance.
But, Doctor, on the human level, it never got to you day after day observing all this?
It concerned me, yes.
But not enough to want to not participate?
Not really. When we discover the importance of the resistance factor. Incidentally, I agree with Professor Turner that that is probably the most significant contribution this work has produced.
The emotional upheaval of the being you're talking about.
Yes. And in the debriefings,
Listen, Doctor. Your subjects were subjected to great stress. Now, I've been listening to you very carefully, but you've never answered me directly. Did this stress, this pain, disturb you, deeply disturb you?
Professor, that's a perfectly normal reaction. It was my responsibility to preserve my scientific objectivity, or else I...
Or else what?
Or else I would hardly have been doing my job as a scientist.
As the subjects were doing their jobs. Thank you, Dr. McBride.
This is Mr. Barry Dahlquist.
You're Dahlquist?
That's right.
Would you take this chair, please? Mr. Dahlquist, you've avoided this inquiry until now. May I ask you why?
Because I don't owe you anything. Nothing at all.
By you, do you mean Dr. Turner or the subcommittee? I understand and appreciate your hostility, but I
Don't try for a 2-minute, 2-bit therapy session, Doctor.
What are your feelings toward Professor Turner now? There were violent actions the last time you met.
There were. I cracked up, I guess.
Have you ever cracked up before?
I've screamed out loud in the woods when there wasn't anybody around. Haven't you? Ever? What has that got to do with this? What has that got to do with this?
Possibly nothing. Mr. Dahlquist, the last we know of you is you're breaking off the experiment and running away without being debriefed. Do you now know truly what was going on? I mean, the illusion, the scenario?
Yeah, I know.
But you ran away without knowing.
I couldn't take it anymore. Had to get out. I just had to, so I did. I ran. Having visions of that poor guy in there with burns on his arms, smoke curling from his head. I could still hear his screams in my ears. I could see myself pulling switches. Pulling switches. In my apartment, I pulled down the shades and turned out the light. I wanted it dark. I didn't want to see myself.
Dahlquist?
Dahlquist, let me in. Let me in. I want to talk to you now. Dahlquist!
The days after that, I stayed by myself. I avoided people. I didn't want to see anybody or have anybody see me.
Why?
Because somehow they'd know what I did. And I got this terrible feeling that I might have killed that man. I mean, really killed him. I looked in the paper for a story about it. I went over the paper again and again, looking.
Barry, it's Karen. Barry, let me in. Let me in, Barry. You're making a mistake about the experiment. No one got hurt. You have to understand the whole story. It's complicated. You're in there. I know you are. Barry, believe me, I'm not just saying it. You didn't hurt anyone. Barry!
I stopped going to classes. Just used to sit in this crummy little bar where nobody knew me. Most of the day just drinking beer.
Hey, you from the college?
Nah.
You're a liar. You're from the college. What are you doing here?
I like it here.
Town guys come here, not college punks.
You ever kill anybody?
What?
Korea, maybe? Yeah. You look old enough for that. Did you ever kill anybody in Korea? Huh? Stick a bayonet in them? Napalm them?
You're a weirdo. Since when you let college weirdo punks in here? Gonna give the place a bad name.
You got an answer?
Come on, get out of here.
Man, I want to meet you on equal terms.
I told you once.
One man to another. Come on.
What are you trying to do, bug me?
No, listen.
What are you, a queer or what?
Now listen to me. Hey, listen! When he beat me, I felt good. I felt clean, as though I were taking a bath, and I wanted to stay in that tub forever. Didn't matter. It was all the same thing. Because I had pulled those switches. You see, staged or not, I had done that believing it was real, and so it was all the same thing, maybe worse.
Well, Mr. Dahlquist, the effects of this experiment upon you have been profound indeed.
Now, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. Listen, I thought about this. The effect that experiment had on me was that it scared me half to death.
It scared you? In what way?
You see, I was in the Army in Vietnam. I mean, during Vietnam. I never went overseas. But I almost got shipped over twice. And I agonized about what I'd do if those orders came through. See, I was big with the peace and the love beads and all of that. Well, I never had to face that. But I could have been there easily enough, and no matter what I talked with my mouth, what that experiment showed me was what I might have done. How I might have behaved when the chips were down.
But that's pure speculation.
Not for me. Not anymore. Because I did it, don't you see? You haven't done it, So you don't know what it's like. But I did it. I heard that man screaming for me to stop. Begging for me to stop, and I went on.
Well, there's a direct result for you. You've instilled such overriding guilt in this man, such a complex of fears.
No, you got to stop the jargon now. Just stop the jargon and listen to me. See, there we were behind this machine, and who was standing behind us with a gun, saying, pull that switch?
There was coercion, urging, pressure.
But no gun, Professor. No gun. Nobody forced me to do it. Except the situation and myself. That's the whole scary point. What makes you think it would have been any different over there in Nam?
But you've no right to conclude that.
You just don't want to believe what's staring you in the face, man. No matter what I thought of myself before. What I know now is, had I been over there in Eli, I would have shot dogs, cats, women, children, old men, babies. I would have wasted them all. Just like everybody else. Very scary. It's very scary to me, don't you? Can you see?
Mr. Dahlquist, I appreciate your feelings. But after staying away from this hearing, this inquiry for so long, just why did you decide to come here today?
I don't know. Talk about it, maybe. Huh? I don't know. Exactly. I never told anybody about it. Just built up. I don't go to a therapy session.
Tell me what thought might be valuable in this instance.
Maybe. Maybe. You know, I just flashed on why I really did come here.
Oh, why is that, do you think?
Because I'm grateful to Dr. Turner.
Grateful.
Yeah. Because you see, I now know what lives inside of me.
What lives inside Barry Dahlquist can live inside any of us. If the conditions are right, if our results show anything, I think they show that.
We can still debate your results, Professor.
Yes, I'm sure you will. Perhaps because the results are so unexpected. With a professional prediction of 2% obedience, it is now apparent that no matter what we wish to be the facts about the way people behave, over 90% of the subjects went beyond the 10th level where learner objections began. And the facts are that over 60% of the subjects obeyed, did not break off, went to that final switch which clearly implied danger, and pulled it.
Your experiment was an isolated one as to subjects, geographic region.
No, your information is not up to date. I have, a few days ago, received from a respected university in France a report of a replication of this exact same experiment. Indications are they are getting 61% obedience, almost our figure.
May I see that, please?
Yes, of course. 1 week ago, I received this already complete report from a university in Germany, where this experiment was precisely duplicated. The figures they're giving are higher than ours. 80% obedience.
Well, we'll go through these. Frankly, there have been some surprises here, which might possibly make the charges less clear-cut. But we'll make our report to the full committee by the end of the month. This inquiry is now adjourned.
Excuse me, I have...
Stephen.
Did anything I say get through to them, Barb? Won't accept my results. I hate my findings, question my ethics. It's just a smokescreen.
Smoke?
Oh, yeah.
Stephen. How can you be so sure of yourself, so smug? You mean you're not willing to admit that there's been damage done to the hundreds that you've tested?
Barb, I've just been through all that. I certainly don't need...
No nightmares, at least? Wake up.
But you heard them. Even Dahlquist, in spite of what happens.
Did we hear the same people? Did we see the same man? Are you so deaf and dumb that you believe them totally?
Didn't say totally. Some things happened in that inquiry I didn't foresee. It was unexpected. But still, most of them say...
They say they're better people. But when Dahlquist is scared half to death and a man's wife calls him Ike, do you think these things can be wiped from their psyche? 1, 2, 3?
Maybe not completely.
Completely, Stephen. You watch them sitting here day after day pulling those switches, and you can't admit to yourself that they were tortured?
Momentarily. But what did Dahlquist say? Who forced them to pull that final switch? Who stood behind them with the gun? Yes, 60% went to the anvil. 40% didn't. 40% said, to hell with you, Doctor, to hell with you. Rutledge, I'm not going on. So, weigh the balance. Look what we've learned.
Some terrible truths. You've learned some terrible truths. All right. Admit at some cost. That's all I ask of you. Free yourself enough to say that to me. Can you be ice? No. No, I can't believe that of you. I've seen you twitch in your sleep at night. Make little sounds. Reach out for me. Can you be so unfeeling, unyielding, unneeding? Stephen, stay there. Are you so sure of yourself? I mean, you put those people through the ringer. What would you have done had you been faced with that test?
I hope I would have disobeyed.
So they all said. That's what they all said when they were not tested, just asked. No, not me, never me. But you've been tested, Stephen. You see, from the first moment that you saw that subject flail about in agony, you had a choice. You could have stopped then, right then, certain of giving nobody else any pain at all. Or you could have chosen to go on, and you chose to go on.
Do you know why?
Yes, for your own ends.
My ends? No. What did I have to gain by witnessing
Your
pain?
ends, which were knowledge. And for that, you knowingly inflicted pain.
I don't deny the pain they felt.
Deny it, you measured it.
But you have to understand, I felt...
It doesn't matter what you felt. You went on and you failed. Admit, at least, the possibility. Stephen. 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 Yes. Enough. Enough pain. Places seem to